They come from every corner of the world, with powers we only dream of. Here to battle the forces of nature, known for their strength, their boldness, their intelligence, and their courage. Some are witty, some are sweet, but most of all, they are Silky Momz.
I remember the computer at home, which was just a desk tower computer. We had to get the viruses scrubbed off of it multiple times.
Did you use LimeWire?
Well, yeah, of course. But it was there was just no good technology to prevent that from happening. So even if you had antivirus, there was somebody who was already making stuff better than the antivirus. It wasn't our fault. It wasn't our parents' fault. It wasn't really anybody's fault except for the guy out there making the virus.
Hi, and welcome back to Silky Momz. I'm Sydney.
And I'm Amber.
We are the podcast that talk about everything momming, the silky and the crunchy, or the scrunchy, or just mom in general. Because we tend to be a little bit borderline. So this week our topic is about our parenting versus our parents' parenting, the difference in kind of the evolution of parenting from when we were kids to how we parent our kids now. Amber has actually come up with a lot of great points that I would have never came up with. So we're going to, one disclaimer, again, we are not
medical professionals.
No. If you need medical, emotional, spiritual questions, please go seek out a professional. We're just a couple of moms with the power of Google and some experience. Yes. So I like these first topics, and I don't really know how to go in order of them, so I'm just going to keep going down the list because our parenting versus our parents' parenting is vastly different, and where we grew up in we both had analog and digital within a very short amount of time. And so our parents also had to do that shift in oh my gosh, my kid now needs a computer to do their homework. Yeah. And now we have a home computer that everyone uses.
Yeah.
Or then you have your laptops and regulation of electronics and social media really wasn't a thing when we were kids. I knew some kids where their parents would confiscate their cell phones at night, which is what I do. I'm that parent just because I know what I got into, and you'll understand why after you listen to this podcast of why I am so strict about social media and technology and stalking what my preteen does on the internet. So what has changed? We'll talk about kind of the changes so far is what has changed in the age of parenting. Things like social media, parents. What have you seen between how you grew up and how you're right now?
Well, like you said, when I started school, the internet didn't really exist. We're technically older than Google. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, I Googled that the other day.
Yeah, it's gross. But that stuff didn't exist. So the idea of the school when we were in high school being hey, there's this online assignment we need you to complete just blew my parents' minds. I graduated from high school a semester early, so I did my last semester packed into one semester of school.
Oh, wow.
So I was doing 2 semesters at once, and one of them was mostly online, so I had a lot of online classes to do. And we had to get a home computer, and we had to have internet, and we had dial-up, so you couldn't be on the phone while I was doing homework, and it was just a train wreck, an absolute train wreck. But having access to that, I have to feel from my parents' perspective, because they haven't really ever talked about it. It must have been terrifying, just turning your kid loose on the wild, wild west of the internet and just being don't get kidnapped.
Do you think do you think they understood the risks of it, or did they oh, they need this? So
yeah,
they have to have it and didn't think of it.
I don't know how my parents felt about it, because the internet was the wild, wild west at that point. Kids didn't know what they were getting into. Parents didn't know what they were getting into. It seems like everybody was just yeah, you have to have the internet now to do homework. So figure it out. But I remember the computer at home, which was just a desk tower computer. we had to like get the viruses scrubbed off of it like multiple times.
Did you use LimeWire?
Well, yeah, of course. But like it was like there was just no good technology to prevent that from happening. So like even if you had antivirus, there was somebody who was already making stuff better than the antivirus. Like it wasn't our fault. It wasn't our parents' fault. It wasn't really anybody's fault except for the guy out there making the viruses that were just wildly better than, you know, the junky virus protection we had.
We had, so I just always remember a computer being in our house growing up, even when I was little, because one of my mom's favorite stories of me is I used the floppy disk compartment as a piggy bank. She couldn't figure out why the computer wouldn't work one day, and so she picked it up and it jangled.
That's so funny.
So she had to take it to the computer guy, and he dumped all the change out.
Oh my God. That's hilarious.
Like, I always remember a computer being at the house because my mom is basically an admin. She's worked for Pizza Hut, Pepsi, you name it, radio sales. So a computer was a part of her work very early on, especially in the 90s. So we got a little bit of that. Granted, we never really used it until, I don't think I ever really used a computer until like middle school.
Yeah. About the same.
Yeah.
We had some in grade school. We had like an actual computer lab in grade school where we played like Oregon Trail and like, you know.
Mavis Beacon.
yeah. Like Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego? Like, yeah, we played like games like that. But my grandma was a public accountant while I was growing up. So she had like the black screen, green type like computers, you know. And they had a couple games on them here and there that were just little pixel games that were kind of fun. The newer computer she got, which was still a dinosaur at that point, had this game on it. And I just, for the life of me, I've never been able to figure out what it was or what the name of it was. But it was this girl who got thrown into some wild underworld type situation. And she would like solve math problems, but like she'd have to jump over lava. And there were bats that she'd have to run away from. And like... It's kind of like, and it was all like flat, so she would like, you know, hop and climb and jump and move around stuff. But like, I, for the life of me, just cannot figure out what the heck that game is. And I would love to play it again because it was fun. But
our games, the one games that, or I guess, I don't even know what to call it, program, I guess we had on our computer was After Dark games.
Oh.
And it was a lot of weird, just little game segments, like kind of puzzle games almost, I think.
Oh, that's cool.
But we loved playing those. I think my grandparents got us on it because my grandparents, like, the only reason they had a computer was to play games.
Yeah.
And my grandpa eventually moved to digital photography, and so he needed the computer for that sometimes. Right. So that was just kind of how we grew up. And then in middle school, end of middle school, early high school, I got my first laptop. Technically, my brother and I were supposed to share this laptop. But it lived in my room because my brother was a gearhead. So I don't know, listen to music. I got on probably things I shouldn't.
Right.
I mean, Messenger, AOL was really big.
Omegle.
Omegle? What is Omegle?
Omegle is like a private chat.
Oh.
Like you could just get in there and be completely anonymous, and like the other people could just get in there and be completely anonymous, and you could just like chat at each other. And like the first thing what you do is you would introduce yourself by like your age and your like sex and like your
location,
whatever you
ASL.
want. Yeah. So like
that actually is still going strong.
Yeah.
Really?
Omegle is still around. I didn't know about that until college.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it has been plagued similarly, like most chat roulette type things.
Chat roulette. Don't even get me started on chat roulette.
In which people, mostly of the male identifying gender, show their privates.
Yeah. Trying to get lucky.
It's just unfortunate.
Yeah.
I remember, like, I think it was the Jonas Brothers that would get on chat roulette and randomly chat with people.
Oh, that's so
I'm just
cool.
always curious. Like,
what if I accidentally stumble across a cool person, right?
On chat roulette.
Too much.
I think it was the Jonas Brothers. I don't know.
Way too much.
Jonas Brothers are going to come after me like, that was not us. I'm like, well, I thought it was. No, but we get into all kinds of trouble. And it's the reason I got into all this kinds of trouble is why I'm so strict today, because I would get into these Yahoo chat rooms, you get in the games, and you can chat with anybody. You can't I did a lot of really stupid stuff. As a mom today, I'm horrified by the things I've done. Into the fact that I just talked to anybody, and these people could have been just
anybody.
And I was
crazy because
13, 14.
I don't remember ever using the internet for things I wasn't supposed to, other than other than my mom being go to bed and me staying up late talking to my boyfriend, I didn't go out of my way to search for weird people or things like that. But I think it was probably also because I had a significant other. I had a boyfriend or somebody at the time that I was I don't need to talk to anybody else.
And I think mine was more out of curiosity, what is in the world.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause right in that weird moment, because growing up, my parents got divorced when I was 8 or 9. So I would bounce back from every 2. It started out every other week. And then it went from every 2 weeks. So I spent 2 weeks with my mom, pack up all my stuff, spend 2. I had matching luggage by the time I was 10.
Wow. Yeah.
And so I would go back and forth, and I didn't really have friends that would go over to my dad's house. My friend Lizzie in middle school was the only person, and that's because her dad worked with my dad. But it really, I don't know, felt odd to take friends over to my dad's house for some reason. I couldn't tell you why, but and so all my friends were at my mom's house. So it was a weird, I didn't really have a core group of friends growing up until I really got into the end of middle school. In early high school, and then I switched schools altogether. So the internet was my friend. It was that constant friend. I could log on and just talk to anybody.
Right.
And anybody would listen to whatever BS I would.
That's so wild to hear that come from you, because now you're the outside mom, right?
Oh yeah.
You're just we're not staying inside. Yeah. But for me, I was the outside kid growing up, because we didn't have technology. We lived just a little bit out of city limits. I would walk out of the back of my house, and then I would walk down the creek bed to the next major road where my friend lived, and she would either also meet me in the creek bed and we would goof off and play in the creek, or I would go to her house. So it's wild now, because I spend a lot of my time on the internet and play games and do
that's true.
do all
I
of
didn't
that
think about
stuff.
it that way.
We're almost opposite of what we were as kids in that regard.
Yeah. I in middle school I dated this guy, whatever middle school dating is. Just for all the moms out there cringing, I'm aware.
Right. We all did it. Oh my God.
We all did it. We're all like, ew, that's weird. So I dated this guy, and this is when AOL was super big. And so I was messaging him, and I got a friend request from, because he had moved into Salina. I can't remember from where. And this person friended me, and I don't even remember how that all worked on AOL, but they friended me. And so I started talking with them, and they were this guy's best friend's aunt.
Oh my gosh.
From wherever he moved from.
Creepy.
But I had no idea.
Right.
I was, I think, in 7th or 8th grade maybe.
Wow.
And I've never told this person. I don't think Milton even knows this story. Anyway, so we messaged each other every day after school. She'd be on at 3 o'clock, 2:30, 3 o'clock. Because you would go home, you instantly get on AOL, and you would chat with your friends. Or whatever I deemed as friends.
Right.
And she would chat with me almost every day or every other day, or even at least once a week, to the point where she's like, oh yeah, I'm going to come visit so-and-so. And we weren't dating even at this time. We had broken up. I'd like to meet you. And I was at my dad's house, and this is super creepy. Yes, I am aware. But this is why I am so paranoid and strict about cell phones and social media, especially when it comes to kids.
Right.
Paranoid because it happened to me.
Right.
So this gal came up, and granted, the guy that I knew from school, the guy that I dated, was with her in the van, but pulled up to my house. And like I went out and was going to meet her. I was at my dad's house.
That's wild.
And my dad came out, realized what was happening because she had called before and said, hey, I'm on my way. And my dad answered the phone and he asked me a couple questions. I was like, yeah, this is so-and-so's like aunt. They're in town, blah, 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 blah. And this is just when I tried to find the article earlier, but there is something major that happened where a Kansas woman who was pregnant met somebody on the internet and was murdered. Like this was a week before.
Oh my gosh.
And so that just had happened. And so my dad came out, and she had like just pulled up, got out of the van. My dad came out, grabbed me, threw me in my room, basically back in the house. He called the cops, got her plate number, called the cops. The cop came in and talked to me in my room, and I am sobbing because I'm so embarrassed.
Right.
And it's just, I look back now as a parent, I'm like, holy shit, my dad wouldn't have been there.
Right.
Like, who knows what? Like, granted, the guy was there. Like, I knew him from school.
Right.
But still, it was not
it's a little
great.
shifty.
It's a little shifty.
Right. I think the difference between like us and our kids having technology and our parents and us getting technology is that our parents didn't really know how to teach us better because they didn't also know better. So like now that our generation knows better, we're much more capable of teaching our kids better. And hopefully stuff like that happens a little less frequently with your own kids.
Yeah, hopefully.
Right.
But yeah, just I don't know. That's a tough story for me. I don't think I've ever told that outside. I don't think I've ever told that to anybody.
Right.
I think that has been kept in the vault until today. So congratulations. The other thing is like I was a webcam kid. Like so when Skype came out in early high school, one of my really good friends, who was a guy, we were in FCA, like we hung out with the same group of kids from FCA. He's like, he bought me a webcam. And I'm thinking about this now, like as a mom, like a high school boy bought my daughter a webcam.
I'd be a little freaked out.
That's weird. But I mean, we never did anything weird. We literally would talk for hours.
Right.
And there's even like screenshots, I think, somewhere on Facebook of like our conversations. Because we would just talk about whatever and just school. Because he was a super amazing dude. Super nice. Just the nicest person on the face of the planet. But yeah, it's just, and I think about those things now as a parent, and I'm just like, oh my gosh.
That's almost normal nowadays, though, because if a kid gets a phone, they have FaceTime.
Yeah.
So at that, it's almost like it's built-in normal now.
Yeah,
it's less scary because it's not weird.
It's not weird. Yeah.
Like that's a pretty active thing people are doing. So like,
well, it has become, so to butt in here, it's definitely become the norm. You know, like you mentioned earlier, like early games and early internet, which like we still had, like I was raised on like Windows 98, 95.
Yeah.
So like, you know, webcams and stuff started to exist. I will say we know better now, but it's, I would say, and this is from my perspective, perhaps scarier because you don't know who's monitoring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, I definitely can get behind you being a bit more paranoid with kids because kids don't always know better. And especially with all like I don't know if you recall when Zoom was happening or if you did anything, but Zoom bombing.
Oh yeah.
Which I have which I personally experienced during a live improv show.
What?
Oh my gosh.
Yes, it was very uncomfortable. Someone pulled up their internet history, which showed hentai.
Oh.
And so much like just dicks right in your face, basically.
Oh man.
We'll probably
thankfully
have
they
to,
waited until we were at intermission to do it.
Oh well, at least it was intermission.
Wow.
For the moms who are not nerds that are listening, hentai is anime porn, basically.
Yeah, for the most part.
For the most part. I mean, there's some other elements that we could probably get into in a whole nother episode. If you really are interested, let me know if you are.
The only word that I will say that we'll probably bring it up is tentacles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are tentacles involved. Not that we would know.
Oh man.
Anyway.
I had a thought and then I don't.
Yeah. But no, it is vastly different. Our parents, Who could have prepared our parents for this?
Nobody. It was just dropped on them so fast. Like, it went from the internet not existing to, like, it does, and now you have to use it. Like, it was just so quick. And, like, even the evolution of, like, our cell phones. Like, I'm sure you probably had one of those, like, Nokia brick with, like, the pad on the front of it phones.
That was our first phone. When Josh and I had to share it, but, of course, he had it most of the time. So
right.
He was more popular.
All
he
the way
friends.
up to, like, the Razor flip phone.
Yeah, I had one of those. I was horrible on cell phones.
Right. So it just the evolution. Now we've just big screen touch phones.
Bricks.
And I don't know that anybody doesn't anymore. I don't think I've seen a phone that's not this in a long time. Like maybe a BlackBerry,
Blackberries don't even exist anymore,
dedicated to those keyboards. I don't know.
I had a BlackBerry for a long time, and then I lost it. I was so sad because I could play Sudoku on it in class.
Oh,
and it was pretty high class, let me tell you.
The Sidekick was better.
Wait, which one was the Sidekick?
Was that the one that turn it, or you flip it up, you slide it up, and then you have a keyboard underneath it?
I don't think I ever had the Sidekick. I had like an off-brand Sidekick where you just flipped up, and then it had the full keypad.
Oh, that's cool.
But I always envied the phones from like those early 2000s movies where you'd click the button and the screen would pop up.
Yeah, those were so cool.
I always wanted one of those. Like all the popular girls have them.
So speaking of phones, I saw a really cool phone hack the other day on TikTok, and I'll have to see if I can find the video and maybe like link it somewhere in here.
Yeah.
But it was about this lady. She said she gets one extra line on her phone plan, and it becomes the home phone.
Oh my God, you're kidding me.
Yeah, so it doesn't leave the house. It is literally their home phone number. So when you have your kid run up to you and they're like, "Hey, so-and-so wants to text me to see if I can come over." Bam, you give them the home phone number. So you don't have 112-year-olds texting you. They're texting your home. It's great.
Isn't it fascinating how because
we're just devolved back to having landlines. Like, that's really all it is.
Like, just get a landline.
You can't text a landline, Mom.
I mean, probably not.
Right.
But it's just like it's just so funny. Parents are like, "Oh yeah, mom hack. I just have a house phone now." I'm like, "Oh, mom hack. That's been a thing since what? It was invented in the early 1900s or whatnot." This isn't new technology. This is just Verizon and them getting an extra $100 out of you.
Right. I mean, it's still pretty smart.
It is. I will say that is a good idea.
I also thought about it. It kind of teaches your kid phone etiquette also.
Yeah, that's true.
Because, like, it still has access to the internet and it still has all that stuff, and they can use it while they're at home, but it has to be, checked in every night, and it's a home phone. And anyone can use it. So if you're looking up, things you shouldn't be, then the next person who uses it is going to know you've been looking up things you shouldn't be.
Unless you delete your browser history. So
well, the fun thing about that is the internet, they'll keep your records if you want them to, and you can just call Verizon and be like, what have we been visiting?
Yeah. So that's where we kind of run into. So Kimberlyn has a phone at our house. It's just an old iPhone, but it's only internet based. I have all the parental controls on it. I do go through it from time to time just to make sure to see what she's looking at. So like, for instance, I do not like her having TikTok. There's just so much
random stuff you could come across,
and it's so hard to regulate. Like, yes, there are parental controls you can put on it. But you have to monitor those. And like, I've caught like things on her TikTok page that she should not be looking at, and that's no fault of her own. It's not like she's looking for it. It's not like she's searching for these things. These things are just pop up,
right?
And so. Like, there's another page called I Likey. So it's a TikTok spinoff where the kids, it's like when we were kids in the sites that the school blocked, we knew all the ways to get around it. That's what it is, basically. So, like, I knew to block that. I made sure, like, her kids' YouTube was set up because I still don't trust YouTube.
There's
just so many. There's just so much stuff. And I know I can't be this protective all the time. I know the world is eventually going to have to, like, present itself to her, but I'm just... She's still a kid.
Yeah.
What's interesting, just to butt in here again, you mentioned your daughter is pretty young. The fact that she has a phone that she can access the internet on is wild to me. That's just a thing for all kids now. Like that did not exist for us. Like even
Yeah.
having like a tablet, like
Yeah.
it was either play outside, play
Yeah.
video games on like the NES or SNES if you had them, or the Sega, or play outside.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's true too.
Yeah.
Like access, like
When did you get a phone? Do you remember how old you were?
Oh, I think I was. Well, here's where it gets weird. So my dad gave me money to get one of those phones that you buy at Walmart and
Yeah,
you buy
like a
the
prepaid
minutes.
minute
Like
phone.
the prepaid
That's
one.
what I had.
That
too.
was my first phone, and I
Me
think
too.
I was 13.
Yeah, I was in middle
maybe.
school.
But I was in charge of figuring out how to pay for it, and then sometimes like on my birthday he would gift me minutes.
Yeah.
So I had that for a little bit, and then when I got busier in high school, my mom put me on her plan.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had my stepdad's old flip phone.
Nice. Yeah.
And I actually think the only reason I got on the plan is because my dad's work started paying for his cell phone. So we'll just
yeah.
keep this extra line and give
That
it to
makes sense.
Sydney.
I got a phone just like that in middle school, and I had it probably clear up until I did. I had it until I graduated high school. And then I went to college, and I just didn't keep up on it. I just didn't have a phone.
That's wild to me.
Yeah, I went through the majority of college just not having a phone.
Really?
Yeah, not at all. Not even a little bit. Well, because the college had free Wi-Fi everywhere I went, so I just took my computer and I would hook it up and I would have all my Messenger. So, I mean, I didn't
That's wild
I didn't
to
need
me.
to text anybody because I could just Facebook them, you know? So, like, it was towards the end of that I started getting, like, the $45 a month, like, straight talk plans that I would do that for a while. And then I just didn't keep up on that either. And so I just kind of went without. And then I got a phone, oh boy, like 2017. And I've had the same number since then. That was the first real phone I had. This is only the second smartphone I've ever owned.
I think this is probably the... Oh, gosh. I don't know. I can't even keep track. It's probably at least maybe the 5th, 6th, 7th.
Nope. My first smartphone was a Samsung S9. And I had it for 4 or 5 years. And then I got this one. And this is only the second smartphone I've ever owned.
I had Galaxies, and then I switched over to iPhone, and I've never went back. But that's blowing my mind. Well,
Yeah.
so my situation was a little... We're kind of getting way off topic here, kind of. But
Only kind of.
I went to boarding school my junior year, so like
yeah.
I
You
had to have a phone. So my junior and senior year, I wasn't at home, so that's how my parents got a hold of me. And then I went to college for a little bit, and then I came back home, and then just kind of. And my mom just always paid my cell phone bill. It wasn't until probably 3 years ago she goes, you need to start paying your own cell phone bill, right? I'm like,
Oh, yeah. Right.
God.
Well, I didn't ever have that problem because I didn't have a phone. My high school had a payphone out front the entire time I was in school. So, like, if I got done with sports, because I played
That's
to all
brilliant
sports,
on your
I
high
would
school.
I would go up to the payphone and it would just, what's your name? And it'd be like, Mom, I'm done, come get me. And then she would get a phone call on the other end. It's like, hey, you have a phone call from, hey, Mom, I'm done, come get me. Do you want to accept this call? And she would just say no and hang it up and then come get me. Like,
Hey, Mom, I'm done, come get me. That is like the best 90s thing ever. So funny.
Man.
Oh my gosh.
So I guess the major difference between that time period and this is that we're now like inundated
Yeah.
in the
It's
internet.
everywhere.
We have Instagram, we have TikTok, we got Facebook, we got every social media on the face of the earth that you could imagine. Like, when it comes to moms and being on social media now, I see a lot of them like posting their kids and using their kids' likeness almost as like
Their identity
own personality. Like, yeah, like they're like, this is Tiny Tina's TikTok page and she's like 2. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Like that kind of freaks me out. Like
Using your kids to get
Right. How often do you post your kids' places?
Not very often. Well, hold on. Let me check. Let me see. But not very often. I think I've been more active recently because they've just been so stinking cute. But it's mainly, I don't know, maybe every other week.
Yeah.
See, February 2nd, April 3rd, maybe not even that, April 5th, and then Easter. So I've been a little bit more active this month, but it kind of comes in waves.
Right. So, like, in that same vein, are you, like, going out of your way to plan posts of them? Or is this just like, oh, look, this cute picture I have?
Yeah, it's a cute, like, it's like usually big events. Like one of like our trip to Tennessee.
Yeah.
It was -5 degrees out and she would not let go of the whipped cream and wanted to play in the snow. And I'm like, it's cold, let's go.
Right.
But she was so stinking cute. And like, just like Halloween, like the normal kid stuff. I don't like plan a cute picture for her every single day. And
Right. See, that's the stuff I don't get. Like the moms who are out there who like plan a photo shoot every day for their kid because they have to like keep current on their social media page. Like, and I've seen
that kind of time.
I saw this girl on TikTok who was just like sobbing about how her mom had like ruined her future because she had posted all this stuff about her like daily, about everything about her. Like she was an Instagram kid pretty much. And she was like, people know my name. They see me. They know exactly who I am, where I live, what I do. They know everything about me. She's like, I can't go anywhere without people recognizing me. And I was just like, oh my God, that sounds horrific. Like I just can't imagine doing that to my kid. So like I try really hard to not like post every single day what he's doing, but like if we do big stuff like go on vacation or do something he really likes and I got a picture, then I'll post it. But
and mine's mainly for family because I've got family in Tennessee, Colorado, Wyoming, Texas.
All of my family is like 4+ hours away, so I mean people still want to stay in contact with me, but I wouldn't do that. I guess the one like personal exposure to a person like that I've seen was this mom in the mall here in town. And they had just like gotten a couple of toys her kids had, and they were like cool little wooden toys. They were, I don't know where she got them in the mall, but like they were the little frogs, you know, that had like the stick that you could drag across their back and they would like make the little croaking sound, right? And she had a younger one and then she had one that was like maybe 5. And so they were kind of walking around, they were leaving the mall and she wanted to take a picture or a short little video of them playing the frogs, right? And she whipped out her phone to like do the video. And she wanted the little one to like do it. So she was videoing the little one and the big one kind of came up and stood next to him and was doing it also. And she's like, get out of the shot. What are you doing? You're just ruining this. Go away. So that kid backs up and like starts to tear up a little bit. And then she like goes back to videoing him and like he goes back to playing his and kind of like skipping around and goofing off. And she's like, you always ruin this. Go away. And I'm just standing there and I'm like, oh my God, lady, are you for real? He's 5. Like, I was like, oh my God, like way to traumatize your kid because he also wants to be involved in this cute video and you just want to alienate him.
Get people.
I was just like, why would you even say that to your kid? Like, I don't think I could ever look my kid dead in the face and be like, you ruined blank. Like, oh my God, that's just
I don't think I have any stories like that.
No, it's good.
Wow.
Like I got in the car and I'm pretty sure I was like, Cadmus was little bitty and he was like playing in the play area in the mall and they were just like outside the doors right there. And I'd gone outside to get like $1 or something so he could ride one of the little kid rides. And I just saw that and I was like, oh my God. Like I just wanted to sit in the car and cry for a little bit. I was like, that's just ridiculous.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, I think it's time for a break. Yeah. We'll take a break, and then we'll come back. Okay, welcome back. Today, Amber got poked and prodded, so we're going to take an
Take a detour
of
through
Amber's morning/afternoon in the pregnancy world.
Yeah, just pregnancy in general, man. It's rough. And I'm sure you've got your own stories too, but like today was 28 weeks. And if anybody knows anything about being pregnant at 28 weeks, I mean,
It just goes downhill from there.
they just poke and stab and do all kinds of torturous things to you at this appointment. So the first thing you do when you show up is you have to sit down and chug the nasty sugar water drink as fast as you can, and it's disgusting. And they're like, "Oh, it's lime flavored. It should be great." But no.
Don't even bother flavoring it.
Just let me drink the sugar water.
Yeah.
Like, what?
I don't know why they flavor it.
Yeah.
It's so gross.
Yeah,
Ugh.
no.
Ugh.
I've heard some horror stories about like the people who got like the fruit punch version and just like all
I've had the fruit punch and the orange versions, and they're not good.
Nope. I've had the lemon lime kind both times, but like it almost tastes like a flat Sprite, and like flat soda just gives me the heebie-jeebies for some reason. I can't drink flat soda, so just like chugging this whole bottle of cold like flat Sprite sugar water just makes me want to barf.
It just reminds me, so this is a little off topic. So I had a friend in high school and in college because somehow his family got transferred to where like
where you did,
where I did somehow just by magic. And but they are very like, I don't know where they're from. They're from Missouri, but I don't know if that's where they originated from. But they put so much sugar in their iced tea. Like it's like sweet tea times a million. And that's what those drinks remind me of is like drinking sweet tea at their house and me just immediately feeling like I have to brush my teeth. So
no. Yeah, 0 out of 10 would not recommend that. And then after that, you go down to your appointment if they schedule it well enough.
Yeah.
And you sit there and you wait and you talk to your OB for a little bit. And sometimes they give you the old butt swab then, and sometimes they wait until like 36-ish weeks to do it.
Butt swab?
Yeah. Okay. When they do your pelvic exam, they have a Q-tip and they like swab it around your butt. And they swab it around your vagina.
Oh,
and
it's the
strep B.
Yes.
To make sure you
Okay,
don't
that
have
makes
strep.
sense.
Because if you do, you can give it to your kid and all that fun
I don't
stuff.
remember it being around the booty area, so that's why I'm.
Yep, they do. Yep, it's a whole thing.
I apparently was just not coherent when that happened.
Yeah, you don't necessarily feel it because it's not like they're like jamming it in there or anything. They're just swabbing.
I would hopefully
around
feel
the area.
Cotton swab around my hoo-ha and my, I don't know, dark star in order to.
Yep, but everybody gets a swab, and that's always great, super fun. And then if you're like me, if you're the old negative blood type girlies out there, you have to get a RhoGAM shot. Mm-hmm. And a RhoGAM shot is it's like sterilized blood product from another person who has a positive blood type, and you take their positive blood type proteins and jab them in your body, usually in your butt, which is pretty rough. Butt shots are terrible.
I think the last time I had a butt shot was I was sick, and urgent care would only give me steroids.
Yeah.
They wouldn't give me antibiotics because I wasn't sick long enough, even though I was miserable. And I was wearing a maxi dress that day, and the nurse was male. So I'm like lifting my maxi dress up and just bending over, and I'm in tears because I just broke down crying to the doctor because I was so miserable.
Oh my god!
The only thing she would give me was a shot in the butt.
Oh, that sucks. No.
Out of curiosity, for me in the booth here,
Why do you need that?
well, why is it in the rear?
Oh, okay. Because they have to have a big, massive muscle. And that's because the shot itself is like Jell-O. Mm-hmm. It is so thick. It's like, because it's processed blood. So they're pretty much just injecting you with a shot of blood pretty much. So it's really thick. It's really gooey. And they can't just put it in your skin, or it would just create like almost like a hematoma. It would make like a lump in your arm, and it wouldn't break up and spread out. So they have to find a big muscle. And sometimes they do it in your arm, but it hurts a lot.
Only if you're muscular.
If they put it, it hurts a lot if they put it in your arm. And don't get me wrong, it still hurts if they put it in your butt too, because like
It's still in your butt.
And it takes forever to get the shot. And the needle's really long because it has to go through your fat and into the muscle. So, like, it goes all the way into the muscle tissue. And then, like, because it's so jello-y, it takes, like, 10, 15 seconds for them to inject all of it in there.
I don't know why I'm cringy right now.
It burns the whole time. It is just awful. It is, like, the worst shot I've probably ever gotten. And then most people, it doesn't have any, like, major effects afterwards. But, like, some people, it just kind of makes you feel, like, miserable. Like, I'm really tired. I'm really run down. I'm kind of like, ugh, because it's what it does is it prevents your body from creating antibodies to fight positive blood types. Because the baby in me could possibly be positive blood type because Barnabas is positive blood type. And it probably will be. There's not really a maybe about it. Positive usually beats negative. So this kid has a different blood type than me. And otherwise, my body would have an immune response and try to attack the baby and its blood because it's a foreign object in my body. So that shot keeps my body from making antibodies to fight that blood type. So, like, some people, it makes them feel run down and gross because, you know, your body is trying to process all of that and turn off that immune response, which is fun.
So there you go.
Yeah. Oh, and then I got another shot. Because you get your TB and tuberculosis shot. So, like, your baby has a little bit of protection from, like, the whooping cough and that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
I think I got that one, actually.
And then when they're done poking and prodding and Q-tipping you, they send you back to the blood lab because your hour's up from chugging your sugar drink. And then they draw, you know, 5 or 6 different tubes of blood for testing of all kinds of stuff. And then they're like, okay, we're done mauling you. You can go home now. It's a good time.
I just remember having to take that stupid sugar drink twice.
Yeah. Did you fail the first one?
Yeah, I failed it. And then I did the second one. Then you have to be there even longer.
Yeah, it's 3 hours.
Oh my gosh.
I hope I don't fail this because I don't want to sit there for 3 hours.
Where do you go for yours?
Maori Clinic.
Maori Clinic.
Yep.
So I was at ComCare and they just have you hang out in the waiting room.
Gross.
And just play games on your phone. You can't leave.
Yeah, no. And if you throw up, you fail, like, immediately and have to do it again.
Yep.
So, look, man, if you feel like you're going to throw up, I promise you throwing up is just going to make it worse. So just, I don't know, man, plug your nose.
Just plug it. Just
tape your mouth shut. Just struggle.
Sing Kumbaya and get through it.
Yeah, ride the struggle bus, man. Because if you have to do it twice, it's way worse.
Oh my gosh. Did you fail your Strep B with Cadmus?
No, I didn't. Thank goodness.
No, I did.
Uh-oh.
So I had to stay the extra 2 days.
Yeah, that's no fun. Because they pretty much monitor your kid, right?
Yeah.
Just to make sure they don't have a reaction or get it or any of that stuff. Yeah, apparently, like, Strep B can be pretty, like, detrimental to kids if they get it. Like, it doesn't, like, super harmful, but it still sucks for them. So I wouldn't want to get that either.
Yeah. So we were in the hospital for like 4 days, I think.
Wow.
Well, I had a C-section plus her Billy levels. My kid came out yellow. So, yeah.
Oh, you just one whole walking catastrophe over there.
We were rough. I don't like. Then I was like, man, I want to be here all the time. They bring me food.
Oh man,
they just hand me my baby whenever I want.
Right.
Like, this is awesome. Like, I probably would have stayed there an extra day if I could have.
Me too. Easily. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember, like, because I labored all night and I had him at like 9 a.m. So I went from 10 p.m. at night to 9 a.m. No sleep, no eating, no drinking, no nothing pretty much. And I remember, like, literally they had like forceps pulled him out of me. And like the second they pulled him out of me, I looked over like the shoulder of my doctor and there was a nurse standing behind him with like a tray of food. She's like, I brought you pancakes. I'm like, yes. Yes, you did. It was great.
Oh, the joys of birthing. My cousin, Jake, and his fiance just had I think they had their baby last night. They were supposed to. So I haven't heard otherwise.
Better start stalking them on the socials.
Well, they don't have social media. That's what's crazy.
Well, good for them.
Well, and they're much younger than us.
Wow. Okay.
So I think they're 23 23, 24 maybe.
Cool. Yeah.
And yeah, they don't use
Yep.
social media. They don't. So my cousin Shelby was actually on the way to the hospital to deliver the baby because
Oh,
she's a
wow.
labor tech. So she
Yeah.
asked them and the hospital, hey, can I be in the room? Can I deliver? And they're like, yeah. So
That's neat.
yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. So I haven't heard otherwise. Hopefully everything went okay.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay, so we're gonna get back on our topic. Speaking of, young children.
Yeah.
Not children. Sorry, Jake. You're not a child. You're probably definitely not listening to this, but
If you do.
if you do, sorry. So this kind of goes into it. So mom bodies.
Yeah. And that's kind of a
Kind of a different twist on what we were talking about earlier,
Yeah.
but it kind of plays into that technology piece of, okay, now we have access to the internet. So we see all these different things on the internet. We still have access to television. Magazines are still really big. Like we went through this period of time where all forms of media were still at its height.
Yeah.
And not one of them really had pushed through yet. So you were getting like bombarded from every single side.
Yeah. And it was one of those things our parents just didn't have time or the know-how to prep for to teach us any better.
Yeah.
Because like there was television, there was magazines, there's the internet, there's just everything.
And at that time you had horrible trash TV and like America's Top Model. You had go watch the first season of American Idol.
It's rough.
Go watch it. You would just come out of your skin.
Yeah, it's not fun.
It's not good. Go like
any of like the Victoria's Secret commercials from
oh
then.
My gosh.
Even all of like the Dove body wash commercials from them, all of the stuff that was like supposed to be supporting women was like still just body negative. All the time.
Because, if you weren't basically super skinny and had a thigh gap, you were not.
Ugly. It was a sin pretty much
you
to
were
be
not a
not
thing.
that skinny. Right.
Yeah.
It was rough.
And so, I've talked about this, I think, in a previous podcast of where, like, I have a grandmother who is not, like, I don't think she really understands what she's saying. At least I hope not. But she does make comments, and I think all the girl cousins have gone through it, that she's made a comment about her weight at some point in time.
Oh, yeah.
And she did that to my mom and her sisters, and then it, like, trickles down. And apparently there's a term for it called almond mom, which I did not know until I was on, I think, Google or something, researching something someday, and that term came up. I'm like, what is an almond mom? But I guess on one of the like Housewives of Atlanta or something, I don't know which one it was, but the mom encouraged the daughter, oh, just eat a handful of almonds, you'll be fine,
right?
In order to like tell her to like lose weight or whatever,
right.
And so that's how almond mom came around. And like almond moms are these moms that make comments or say things to their daughters about their bodies. And it just kind of blew my mind that there's an actual term for it. Yeah. Because that's kind of what has trickled down in my family. And I don't know how to say this without like totally making my mom and my grandmother seem like horrible people, because they're not. Right. I mean, the day I think my grandmother realized, at least on our side, I don't know if she's had any interactions with the other ones, is my mom and I were visiting my aunt and uncle in Colorado. They had just started building this great house, and we went out for like Mexican food. My grandma came down from Cheyenne and met us, and we were going to all get my aunt and uncle's car and go see their new house that they're building because they're really excited about it. And so my mom and my aunt and I are sitting in the back of the car, and my grandma had to like go get something out of her car, and we let her sit in the front seat. And my grandma gets in the car and she goes, well, I should have sat in the back. I'm one of the skinny ones. And there's a pause. There's definitely a pause.
Right.
Because I'm in the middle.
Right.
I'm looking at my mom and I'm looking at my aunt. And I'm like, I'm like, did she just call us fat?
Right.
And then she turns around and says, get on the ball, Sid, and slaps my knee. And I just start sobbing.
Oh my
I start
gosh.
sobbing.
Yeah.
And I did not know what to do. Like,
Yeah.
I just broke down. And my mom, like, this is the only time I've really seen my mom come mama bear out.
Right.
She swung that car door open so fast, yanked me out of that car,
no.
threw me into her car, and drove off in like 10.5 seconds.
Right.
And just went off.
Right.
And I guess my grandma left shortly after that, went back home.
Oh my
We
gosh.
met up with my aunt and uncle again, and I think the only thing my uncle goes, "Good job, but don't ever slam my car door like that ever again." He has a Tesla.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
She's just he was able to bring a little bit of humor back
Right.
to the
Right.
like he really lightened it up a little bit. and
Yeah, I get
but
that.
it was just one of those realization points that like my mom knew, because my mom
Right.
got that when she was growing up.
Right.
But my mom would only make comments of like, you know how many calories are in that, or
Right.
you know, like she never was like that.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
it, like, she definitely did make sure that I felt comfortable. But she
Right.
also, like, if we would go shopping, she would be like, yeah, no, that's not
Yeah.
for you.
I have similar story. I'm pretty sure like when I made it to college, my thyroid and hormones, I think, just screwed me, because when I left high school, I weighed like 130 pounds max, and I was like running cross country and doing all kinds of stuff. And then like the first year of college, I was fine. And then my sophomore year, in like a matter of 6 months, I put on like over 100 pounds, and I was like, holy crap, this can't be right. But like I went back home, and like the first thing my dad said to me when he saw me is, "Oh, what are they feeding you there? You put on a lot of weight." And I was like, "You." That's
Thanks, Dad.
not
Hadn't
even a
noticed
hi.
that none of my clothes fit.
Not even a hello. But that first, oh my God, I was just, I don't know. Yeah, I just couldn't do it, man. I was mad.
I had a boss tell me I was fat once.
Oof.
Yeah, I was working at the Steve. I don't care, Steve. I'm calling you out. If whoever knows Steve, that was the manager at Starbucks at the petrol station when it first opened.
Uh-huh.
He was a real character. Yeah, I can't remember the exact conversation, but it was something about like the Frappuccino 15.
Oh,
So
that's fun.
At that Starbucks, all the employees were able to get free drinks, basically. And so obviously everyone wants Frappuccino because they're sweet and they're delicious.
Yeah.
But they're also very fattening. So I guess I had put on a little bit of weight, and he commented about the Frappuccino 15.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice of him. How
It
lovely.
was very lovely of him.
Yeah. I've had a couple of exes who are just like like one of them, before he was even like actually dating me, he was just like hanging out all the time. And then like, I don't remember, somebody said something. We were just like hanging out at the bar. Somebody said something. They're like, well, when are you guys going to start dating? And he's like, oh, I wouldn't date her. She's not my type. She's too fat. And I was like, what the fuck?
God.
I'm like, that is where do you keep the audacity?
Jesus.
I was like, okay, peace out. I don't know that we're friends anymore even. See you later.
It's just so crazy, the flip between like 2000 and I don't know, we'll say 5 to now. You're even in 2020 where we are getting more like inclusive, like body type. Like if you go to Target or I think even Walmart doesn't really have mannequins, but just any department store now has, which I really don't like the term plus size.
Yeah.
I'm really not a fan of that because it's just like, because you're still determining what that category is.
Right.
Why can't it all just be a size?
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing about women's clothes. Like, if you look at men's clothes, they just measure in inches. They're like, what
Exactly.
is your waist? Oh, it's like a 50? Okay, here you go. Or like, oh, it's like a 30? Here you go. And like, that's all it is. Like, that's just in inches. Like,
Yo, why do women's clothes need? Because women
it's
is like,
ridiculous.
oh man, I'm so glad you brought this up because now I'm fired.
Yeah.
Because like men's, it's like, oh, your baby clothes, your toddler, your
Yeah.
boys.
Right.
Do they have like a junior section, or
No.
does it immediately just go to men's clothing?
I'm pretty sure it's like juniors, or like not juniors, but like just kids. I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure all
kids.
the boys' clothes is in the same section.
And then it goes to men's, where
Right.
in girl world, it's, baby, toddler, girls, juniors, women's, plus size, petites, and then misses. Like, you have all these different categories for each of these women.
And
I'm like,
and it depends on what kind of pants, because if you're buying like leggings or anything that has stretch, they do small, medium, large, extra large, triple X, quad X. But like if you're looking for jeans, it's like size 17.
Yeah.
Size 18, size 19,
14,
size 20. And that's not inches.
Nope. 114 is that. There was one mom. Gosh, I wish I would have saved this
They make
TikTok.
size 0 women's jeans.
Yeah.
That's not because you're 0 inches around. It's because it's just a size
starts
0.
at 0.
It's just somebody decided a size 0 was, I don't know, a 20-inch waist. And they said, fuck you guys. Figure it out.
Well, and all these sizes aren't even the same. So
They're
if you
not.
take each brand,
They're different.
they're all different. There was a
Wildly
mom
different.
that held up different brands of the same size,
Yeah.
and they were like a 2-inch difference in some of them.
It's insane how
I'm like-
big of a difference it is. Like that's why like I have a hard time shopping at like Ross, where they'll
Yeah.
put like all of the different brands in one section. So like is this a size 17? So like I would go and pick up like 5 or 6 pairs of the same size of jeans, and I would try them on, and like one would fit but all the rest would be way too small.
Yep.
Like, and then you hold them up to them, like you hold one side together and this side is like this much of a difference. And I'm like, how are these even labeled the same size when they're clearly not?
Yep.
Yeah. That's why women's clothes shopping just makes
so
me
hard.
hate myself. I just don't want to do it. It like it just takes so much effort.
I don't mind shopping. I hate shopping in that if you don't try everything on,
Yeah.
it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
It is a nightmare.
So you either got to be dedicated. It's got to be like a 3-hour shopping
Yeah.
trip so you can try everything on, or you might as well just not go.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity from the booth, do you think that's why? And I don't mean to be generalizing if I
No.
am. Do you think that's why more women have been going to leggings? Because like I feel like I see more
Honestly.
leggings than I do anything else.
Well, that and we're lazy.
I mean, I don't blame you. Like,
Yeah.
as a
It
man
really-
with less complicated clothing, I go for what's comfortable. I don't go for style. Clearly,
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you are a very stylish man. I mean, look at that beard. That is a very well groomed beard. That is style. It's just your style is a very different style than what women
Right.
call style.
Right. And I would say, yeah, there's some like universality to it that like makes it easier to find leggings, so it's just easier to wear those.
Plus, I can buy a pack of 3 on Amazon for like $30.
Yeah. Whereas like a pair of jeans is like 70.
Yeah,
If you're getting a nice pair of jeans, which is just absolutely obscene to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So how do you plan on teaching your kid? Because obviously you have a girl,
Yeah.
so it's going to be hard to...
Right now, it's just a lot of telling her how amazing she is.
Mhm.
Because and she's in her pretty dress phase right now. She
yeah.
loves to wear the pretty dresses. She
Oh,
loves
yeah.
pretty dresses. And I always make sure that she has like slip shorts underneath all of her dresses, because
Yeah.
I'm just that
Yeah.
mom. Because I am a big believer in still like teaching like how to be feminine, how to be, granted, if she's interested in those things, where like
Mhm.
Kimberlyn would love to just wear jeans and a t-shirt all day, and
Yeah.
that's fine.
Right.
That's who she is. She sees Madeline at our house get really into dressing up like a girl, and it's
Mhm.
kind of I think I don't know,
Rubbed off on her a little.
rubbed off on her a little bit,
Yeah.
because we struggled the other day trying to find something for her to wear to church, because she was going to sing at her mom's church, and she
Oh,
wanted
cool.
to wear a dress, and I'm
Yeah.
like, we buy you jeans and t-shirts because that's all you wear.
Right.
So a couple days, so I went to the kids closet sale or whatever in
Yeah.
McPherson and got her a couple of dresses, and I found
That's
some
cool.
at I found a super cute one at Goodwill that she wore for Easter. Oh my gosh, it's
Good.
so cute. So I've been trying to keep an eye on like budget friendly dresses, because I know
Yeah.
she's not going to wear them
Yeah.
all the time. I don't want to spend $60 on a brand new dress and she wear it once.
Right.
But I'm just big on like, if that is what you're interested in, let's teach you the right way of doing it, because that's
Mhm.
what my mom did. My
Mhm.
mom was very big in correct undergarments, very big on how you present yourself, posture. Just if this is who you're going to be the best at
Right.
it. And so
Right.
that's just what.
Yeah. Yeah. And I kind of like that the internet has kind of brought a little bit of like, I don't know, light to the problem. Because the 90s and the early 2000s were rough with like the low-rise jeans and the having to be so skinny, your hip bones poked
Do not
out.
get me started on low-rise jeans.
Yeah, it's just horrifying. And like the internet has got all of that kind of under control a little bit.
Oh my gosh.
So I mean, that's one +1 positive for the internet for me at least.
If we ever go back to low-rise jeans, I will personally go to whatever magazine, fashion industry
said this was a good idea.
executive that said this was a good idea and throat punch them.
Yeah, we're burning the building down, honestly. Like, it's so bad.
Out of curiosity, since men's clothing is so uncomplicated and typically like it's either shirts and pants.
Yeah.
Do you prefer like pants over dresses?
I think that's a really good question. I would love, I think, to wear dresses more if I could find them.
Yeah.
So I used to be a big online shopper, and then I switched to more in-store shopping actually lately. But so in our area, Ross is the only place that has dresses.
It's true. And
is one more comfortable than the other?
Not really.
Really, kind of depends on the dress, to be honest.
Yeah, if it's a short dress, I'm more uncomfortable than in jeans.
Yeah.
But if it's like a long, like a maxi dress or a skirt, it's okay.
I'm okay with clothes being like pajamas.
Yeah. yeah.
So, but
I will say I have to wear shorts under dresses.
Yeah, I do wear shorts under dresses.
Because I don't like my thighs chafing.
Well, that. And so there was one time when I was working at the bank here in town, I had to go pick up something from Sam's. I think I was picking up water or something for something at Sam's. And I was wearing a dress, and I don't think I had shorts on underneath that day. And it got real windy, and I was in these tall frickin' wedges. I was in my bank uniform, cute summer stuff or whatever. And the wind caught me, and there was a cart guy that got a real good view.
Oh, nice.
And so I was like, I am forever wearing shorts underneath dresses now.
Yeah, 100%. And the thigh chafe is real.
Yeah, the thigh chafe is.
No. Not dealing with that.
Yep. It's a thing.
Right. But I think, like me as a boy mom, teaching my kid is going to be a little different. It's going to be more about, like, we don't care what people look like. Like, if that person is pretty to you, then they are pretty. It doesn't matter what they look like body type wise. And I think that's something that, like, we probably just weren't told enough as a kids. Like, we probably just weren't told, hey, it doesn't matter what your body looks like because, you know, everybody's body looks different. Like, you see the one supermodel on a page of a magazine and, like, no one else on the earth looks like her.
Yeah.
But everyone expects you to look like her. And it's that expectation that I think that, like, breaks everybody so hard because it's physically not possible to look exactly like her because every person is made different. So, like, so you just feel that weight of that expectation with the impossibility of actually achieving it, and it just kind of breaks your spirit.
Yeah. I love those videos where they show like the photograph versus the end product and the photoshopping that happens between that. I think that really opened some people's eyes into like it really isn't what it is.
Like all the Instagram models who are like, this is a photo of me like posing, and then they'll show them like just sitting there and they have like belly rolls from just sitting like a normal person. But like for their one picture, for that 1 second, they suck it in and they pose and they make everything look perfect. So like, yeah, of course a photo is going to capture the most perfect moment, not who you actually are. So like people just being honest and exposing that makes a big difference too, I would say.
Oh, man. The internet and life is wild.
Truth.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap up our topic and kind of go some more fun route of anything weird that you've had to explain to your kid that you didn't think you would ever have to say. I'll go first to give you some time to think.
Yeah.
So Madeline got sick. This is a couple weeks ago. She just threw up. I think she just coughed herself so much she threw up. That's what kids do.
Baby.
And it was that night right before, like, she had went to bed and then she woke up, threw up. And so she called us into her room, just puke everywhere. And she has like stuffed animals out the hoo-ha. And so I had thrown all the stuffed animals into to a laundry basket, and I just hadn't had a chance to wash them yet. So like a week later or whatever. Yeah, you all can judge me you want. Yes, I had puke covered teddy bears for a week. Relax. I didn't get time. Anyway, so she found said teddy bears in the laundry basket, and she wanted to play with them. I'm like, hold on. Mommy needs to wash the puke off of them before you play them. And she just kind of looked at me like, what?
What do you mean?
What do you mean? Like, I have to wash the puke off this before you can play with it.
Tasty.
Yeah. Real tasty.
The weirdest thing I think I've probably had to explain to Cadmus is that he was playing in the bath one time, and like if you have kids, this has probably happened to you at least once, but like he pooped in the bath.
Oh yeah, that happens.
Right. So like because he just doesn't know any better.
Yeah.
He was pretty little at the time. He was like maybe a year and a half old.
Oh yeah.
So like he pooped in the bathtub, and he just kind of looked at it, and he had no idea what was going on because he's only ever pooped in diapers, right? So he poops in the bathtub, and he like starts to reach out and grab it. I'm like, no! I'm like, no, don't play with your poop. So I had
It's
to
not Play-Doh.
Yeah, I had to like explain to him. I'm like, no, that's just poop. That's like what happens in your diaper. Let me fish it out of there, please. Don't grab that and just squish it in your hands. Like, oh, gross.
Kind of on that same.
Yeah.
That brings up. So there was one time. Gosh, I think we were getting home late from something. We had all the kids. I got Madeline in the bathtub. I think Milton had to run out and get diapers. So I'm getting Madeline out of the bathtub. So I let all the water out. I told Maverick, hey, Maverick, you need to start stripping down so we can get you in the bathtub. I hadn't quite gotten Madeline out yet. I was getting stuff ready to swap the kids out of the bathtubs.
Right.
And next thing I know, Maverick is peeing in the bathtub on his sister. And I think he's like 3. So Madeline would have been 1.
Yeah, she's got no idea.
Oh,
He's got no idea.
And I flipped my lid because I just did not know what to do in that situation. Milton's not home. Kimberlyn is in
That's
La La
so
Land in
funny.
her room or something. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I overreacted. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, no. So I told him, I go sit on your bed. So I had to wash Madeline again. And I'm texting Milton at the same time. I go, does Maverick know not to pee on people? Because I need to know what level that I need to apologize at. Like, does he know that you are not supposed to pee in the bathtub on people?
What is the, okay, now I'm curious. What is like the weirdest thing you've had to tell your children? Because like beyond playing like don't play with your poop or like don't pee on your sister, like what are you finding that there's more of those things that you were saying than you ever thought you would?
Oh yeah. And this is probably the thing that I'm just like I had to explain to him, like, after the mayhem got done, I got Madeline settled into bed. Milton came home during this freak out too, and because he texted me, he goes, he probably really doesn't know. I'm like, okay.
All right.
So got Maverick done. I sat him down on his bed. I go, Maverick, I'm sorry for yelling.
Right.
But we don't pee on people in the bathtub, okay? We pee in the toilet. We don't pee in the bathtub.
Right.
And he's like, okay. I go, I'm really sorry for yelling. I'm sorry if I scared you. Like, I apologized to him, and like, I told him, like, you're not in trouble.
Right.
I just don't know how to deal with my anxiety. But it's just things like that where, like, I had that freak out moment. Like, oh my God, does he actually know what he's like? I couldn't process it.
Right.
I couldn't do it.
No, Cadmus, for a while, when he was about 2, had a fascination with shoving stuff in his ears.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like most kids go through that too. But he would pick like the worst things to do it to. Like he would pick like peas that are like the perfect size to just roll all the way down into his ear and just get stuck and smashed in there. And I'm just like, please don't. It just freaks me out a little bit. But like at the same time, I don't want to pay a doctor hundreds of dollars to scrape peas out of your ears. So please don't.
Yeah.
Please don't do that.
Well, hopefully it wasn't mashed potatoes.
Oh, it was anything squishy or small that he could just
Shove in there.
squish in there. He would do it. So it was just
There was.
nightmare
I will tell you
fuel.
one of my mom's favorite stories of. Well, there's for some reason I was the problem child. My
I'm
brother
not surprised.
just said funny things. Like when the sun was in his eyes, he'd be like, "The sun is looking at me."
Oh my
And,
goodness.
like, but I was the kid that like pooped on the floor.
Oh, yeah.
Put orange juice in the VCR. Spray painted my dad's truck. Like I was that. So this is probably why Madeline is this way because
Oh my
it's just
God, it's
payback for
payback.
me.
Yeah.
But yeah, my mom, had to explain to me that Sunny D does not go in the VCR.
Uh-huh.
She took it to the repair guy, and the guy's like,
No.
there's no way. Or because my brother had a TV VCR set in his room, so I'd always go into his room and watch movies in the morning, pop a Disney movie in or whatever, and so I was potty training. I didn't feel like going on the toilet. I knew I was supposed to pull down my pants and go.
Right.
But
right.
apparently I didn't know that I was supposed to do it in the toilet exclusively and just pooped right there on the floor. And so my brother walked into my parents' room. I think they were probably still asleep. And he just goes, "Sydney pooped in my room." Because you really don't know. Like, these kids really do not know.
Right. Our first test to see if Cadmus was ready to potty train was just like letting him go like pants and like a pair of underwear just to see if he would like how he would react. And the first thing he did was poop and then do like the stanky leg and shake it out of his pants and just let it leave it on the floor and just left it there.
So Madeline, and we're doing the same thing with Madeline. And I went to go put her on the potty the other day, and I pulled her pants down, and this piece of poop just flew on the floor. Yep. It just went floop. Yeah. And I'm just like, oh, well, at least it's not smashed into your underwear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah.
You shook it out on the floor,
And they just look at it, and they're like,
oh yeah, where'd that come from? Right.
What do you know? All right. Well, if you found anything, hopefully you found something semi-entertaining in this episode. Leave us your feedback. What's the craziest thing that you've had to explain to your kids?
Oh yeah.
Let us know. Again, make sure to follow us on YouTube, TikTok. Check out our Podbean account. We are on, if you're watching this, we're on all streaming platforms. If you're listening to this, check us out on YouTube and TikTok for some behind the scenes things. Or Facebook. We do have Facebook. Yeah. We have a whole 7 followers.
Woo!
Yes. We're really racking it up.
Yeah. Our TikTok is pretty popping.
Our TikTok has a whole 140 people, I think. I mean, we're getting up there. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.